How the Golden State Warriors saved their dynasty. As you all know, 2 years ago, the Golden State Warriors were the worst team in the NBA, and just a couple of months ago, they ended up winning the NBA championship. So in today's video, we're going to be going through 5 key moves or 5 reasons how I think the Golden State Warriors saved their dynasty and will continue to win NBA championships for future to come. So make sure you like this video, and don't forget, if you want more Golden State Warriors content like this, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hitting that red button down below. Guys, 98% of you are still not subscribed, so it'd mean the world if you could subscribe to the channel. But let's get straight into the first reason, and the first reason being is that the Golden State Warriors kept Draymond Green, Steph Curry, and Klay Thompson together. Now, I don't know about you, but the only 3 players, and maybe Andre Iguodala, that are really important when it comes to this Golden State Warriors becoming a dynasty is Steph, Klay, and Draymond. And I think it's honestly fantastic that throughout the years, even the last couple of seasons where they weren't performing very well, especially coming from a championship team when KD left, that they still kept those 3 together, and they have all prospered, especially in the last season. I think it's fantastic to see them all back on the court. As you all know, Klay Thompson was suffering from a lot of big injuries. Steph Curry also had his injuries here and there, and Draymond was left with a couple of injuries, but also playing by himself a majority of the 2 seasons ago. So the fact that they kept them all throughout this whole process, I think honestly shows not only the dedication that the Golden State Warriors front office have to these 3, but the dedication that these 3 have in turning back the dynasty into something special, and that's definitely what they did when they won another NBA championship. So not only did they stay together, but they absolutely balled out last season. So last season in the 2021-2022 regular season, Steph Curry actually averaged 25 points per game, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists. We also had Klay Thompson, who actually averaged 20 points per game, 3.9 rebounds, and 2.8 assists. And I think this is honestly fantastic to see, because this was Klay Thompson's first full year back. He didn't play all the games, however, he did a very good job on doing his part and doing his role, which I think was fantastic to see. Lastly, we also have Draymond Green, who played very well. He only averaged 7.5 points per game, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists. So almost got a triple-double, which I think is very impressive. I think he does have a lot of ways to go when it comes to where he can really improve in, but when it comes to Draymond, it's the intangibles that really do show up, that really don't show up in the stat sheet. So his defensive presence, his leadership, all that great stuff is why Draymond is still a part of this team, and why I think he's honestly fantastic to have on the Golden State Warriors roster. So reason number 2 on how the Golden State Warriors saved their dynasty was trading DAngelo Russell for Andrew Wiggins. Now, I think a lot of you may have forgotten that DAngelo Russell actually played for the Golden State Warriors. Yes, when Kevin Durant left, they were looking to get a replacement, and they decided to get DAngelo Russell, which was a bit confusing due to the fact that Russell was actually a point guard, and obviously Steph is a point guard and Klay Thompson's at the 2, so you know, it doesn't really make sense where DAngelo Russell was going to fit. And they did run him at small forward, but it was a bit of a difficult situation due to the fact that DAngelo Russell is not used to that situation or into that position, and also he's a bit small for playing that small forward or even that shooting guard position. So it was surprising to see that he was actually sent off and was actually traded for Andrew Wiggins, and a lot of people thought that everyone was pretty much sleeping on Andrew Wiggins. Everyone thought he was just going to be a massive role player. They were probably going to get other better players in order to replace him, but Andrew Wiggins last season really showed why he's such a great player and why he's an integral part to this Golden State Warriors lineup. I really do see that in a lot of his game. He really does add a lot of tenacity, a lot of athleticism as well, that Steph and Klay don't really offer, especially for the guards position. So I think it's fantastic that they really did get someone like Wiggins, because he was honestly a match made in heaven. Now, Andrew Wiggins last season in 2021-2022 regular season actually averaged 17.2 points per game, 4.5 rebounds, and 2.2 assists. But what he really did provide a lot of was defense, and I think Andrew Wiggins was the guy to guard the best player on any other team, and that's what really separated him from the rest of the Golden State Warriors. You already had enough offensive players in Steph, Klay, and other big men or other guards coming off like Jordan Poole, and what Andrew Wiggins really did provide is that Kawhi Leonard style play, where he was a bit of a player that has a little bit of offense in him, but is mainly a defensive stopper, and I think that's what he really did and really did show, especially during the playoffs. He was locking up players, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, all these players tip top, and it was honestly nasty to see how he went out there. So I think Andrew Wiggins is honestly a perfect fit, and for them to keep him for the long haul, which is what a lot of them have been saying is going to happen, I think is honestly one of the best trades Golden State Warriors has ever made. Reason number 3 on how the Golden State Warriors saved their dynasty was drafting great players and also signing young players as well. Now I think this is honestly fantastic, and you have seen how the Golden State Warriors front office have done such a great job on really scouting great young players that have the potential to be great. Now, speaking about some of the rookies, we also have Patrick Baldwin Jr. this season, who I think is going to be amazing. Mac McClung, just to name a few. A couple of the other younger players, Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody. There's so many people to actually name off, but obviously the golden child himself, and probably one of the best signings Golden State Warriors have had in a little bit of time, maybe the past couple of years, was actually Jordan Poole. Now we all know Jordan Poole is pretty much a miniature version of Steph Curry, and what I mean by that, he's pretty much a version 2, does pretty much exactly the same thing, almost the same height. He stands at 6'4". Steph Curry supposedly is around 6'3" or 6'2". It's not really certain on how high or how tall he actually is, but Jordan Poole is honestly a great 3-point shooter, and he's shown that time and time again. So last season he actually averaged 18.5 points per game, 3.4 rebounds, and 4.0 assists. And you got to remember, guys, Jordan Poole was mainly coming off the bench, which was honestly huge for him. For him to actually average 18 points is honestly insane, and he was putting up some great numbers when it came to field goal and also 3-point percentages as well. So in the playoffs, just to show you how great he was during the playoffs as well, he was actually averaging on a 3-point percentage of 39% and a field goal percentage of 50%. Okay, and this is as a guard. That is honestly insane, guys. And like we talked about before, other young players still have a lot of potential. We all know how great Kuminga is going to be. We all know how great Moses Moody is going to be. Patrick Baldwin, the list can go on and on. But obviously a player that has really established himself as a great player is definitely Jordan Poole. And even going back to Gary Payton II, yes, obviously Gary Payton II has played for other teams before, but he really did flourish under the Golden State Warriors, and he's still, pretty young when he did end up signing with them, and he obviously flourished and he woke up to his full potential, and I think that's fantastic to see. But Jordan Poole, I think he's only going to get better from here. It is going to be pretty sad if he gets really, really good and people start to trying to sign him or other teams try to get him. So that will be a sad day. Hopefully he stays with the Golden State Warriors as long as possible, and I really could see him become a great player, especially not even just now but also in the future as well. Reason number 4 is keeping Steve Kerr. Now I think a lot of you don't really realize how great of a coach Steve Kerr actually is. Now a lot of front offices, when their team starts to lose, especially from the Golden State Warriors, who were coming from a championship team who ended up losing to Raptors and then having the worst season they've had in a while the season after. So for them to actually keep Steve Kerr throughout this whole period, I think is honestly such a smart move. A lot of front offices, they would honestly fire them after 10 losses, 20 losses. We've seen it time and time again where a couple of other organizations, as soon as a 10-loss streak happens or 20-loss streak, they end up just firing the coach and then they just start off fresh. However, with Steve Kerr, they have kept him on this entire time, and I think it's honestly fantastic. Steve Kerr, if you didn't already know, actually was coached under Popovich for a little bit, so he was an assistant coach for Spurs. Popovich taught him everything he knows, and that's why Steve Kerr is such a great coach as well. We gotta admit, Popovich is definitely one of the best coaches out there with Phil Jackson, and now Steve Kerr can definitely be in that conversation, especially after all the rings he has won. But with his play style, it really does fit a championship style play, and I think it's honestly fantastic that they have kept him. A lot of people don't really realize how important having a great coach is, not only just for rotations but also game plans. Really, a high IQ player is what you need, and that's what Steve Kerr has really provided for this team. And I think it's honestly fantastic. Like I said, completely underrated. Shouts out to Steve Kerr because he has honestly done a great job with this team, especially with everything that's going on for the past 2 or 3 seasons where they weren't playing the best and they ended up winning the championship just this season, just prior. So I think it's honestly fantastic to see, and I hope he continues to coach the Golden State Warriors because I really can't see anyone else coach this team and really take them to the NBA championship. Reason number 5 is keeping the great team chemistry. Now I think this is probably the most important thing to me. When growing up playing basketball, I always thought team chemistry is so important, and that's what really makes a championship team. If all the players, all 10 or 15 remain on the roster are on the same mission to win an NBA championship, no matter what it takes and no matter what sacrifices have to happen, I think that's honestly a championship team for you. And I love how the Golden State Warriors not only keeping players, but trading for them, signing for them, and also drafting for them, players that have that same mentality and are in it to win it no matter what they have to do. Even players like Steph Curry, Klay, and Draymond, even though they're the star players, you see that they will sacrifice anything. They're not looking to drop 30-40 points a game if that doesn't mean they win an NBA game or an NBA championship. They'd be glad to drop 4 points, 5 points if that's what they need from the team in order for them to win. And I think that's what's honestly fantastic about this core and also about this team in general. The Golden State Warriors have done a great job in order to really understand what players need to go where in order for them to win a championship. I think, everyone from last season, even going back to Juan Toscano Anderson who left, Otto Porter, GP II, also all played huge roles, and I think that's what really makes this team that special. Now, obviously, they are moving forward without those players, but I think the players that they have signed this year really do complement the Golden State Warriors, and I think they can help them win another NBA championship. Another key player that I'm really excited to see is actually JaMychal Green. You all probably already know him by now. I have done videos on him, and I think he will honestly be fantastic for the team, and it will be exciting to see what he can bring to the roster. I think his athleticism, his great shooting ability as well that not many people know of, and also his great inside presence is honestly something that is going to help the Golden State Warriors, especially for that second unit. So guys, let me know down in the comments what you think. Would love to hear your opinion on all of this, guys. Thank you so much for watching, guys. We're about to hit 8,000 subscribers as well, and yeah, I'll see you soon. Peace.